let's get Dr. Steve G. Jones on here. He has been practicing hypnotherapy since the 1980s and is the author of over 22 books on hypnotherapy. He's a member of the National Guild of Hypnotists, the American Board of Hypnotherapy, the president of the American Alliance of Hypnotists. He's on the board of directors of the LA chapter of the American Lung Association and director of the California State Registered Steve G. Jones School of Hypnotherapy. And in the mid-'80s, Steve began study at the University of Florida, focusing on cognitive psychology so we can understand how people learn. And much of his early research was published in psychology journals. And he kept practicing hypnosis outside of academia on a regular basis. And in the 90s, he found himself fortunate to counsel families and individuals and finished his degree in psychology at the University of Florida. He has a bachelor's degree in psychology from the University of Florida, a master's degree in education from Armstrong Atlantic State University, and a doctorate in education at Georgia Southern University. He sees clients and helps people with a variety of conditions, including weight loss, anxiety, smoking cessation, test-taking, phobias, nail-biting, road rage, anger management, general wellness, pre-surgical and prenatal pain control, natural childbirth, and many others. And today he's going to be sharing some really, really powerful insights and processes to help us all break through the blocks to abundance and open up to step more fully into our birthright of true abundance. Please help me in welcoming to the Abundant Mystic, Dr. Steve G. Jones. Steve, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Well, thank you for having me.
It is an honor, and I'd love to start out this call in the way that we're starting all the calls, and that's by getting your definition or description of true abundance.
Well, I think true abundance is just living your personal dream. You know, how many friends do you want? What kind of income do you want? What kind of car do you want? How much happiness do you want? It's relative to everyone, so abundance is living your personal dream.
I love that. And I love that that really opens it up for people to define their own dream and to step into that. Let's just jump right in and give us a little bit of a background on, for people who don't know and people who perhaps have not done hypnotherapy, what hypnotherapy is and how it works.
Well, hypnosis is just a relaxed state of mind in which you're more open to suggestions than you would normally be. And the way it works is just by relaxing you into what we call alpha, which is just a mild state of relaxation. You can still be aware during alpha. You can be aware of what's going on around you, yet you are in what we define as a hypnotic state. And then we just put positive suggestions in your mind while you're in that state.
Now, some people, may associate hypnosis with stage hypnotists, where they see a hypnotist sort of encouraging people to do things they might not want to do. How does the work that you do and the work that clinical hypnotherapists do differ from we see when we see a performer, a hypnosis performing on stage?
Well, that's, as you pointed out, that's stage hypnosis, and the standard there is entertainment. They want to entertain the audience. And with clinical hypnotherapy, which is what I do, the standard is helping the person, helping them get over something, stopping smoking, losing weight, overcoming fear of flying, etc. Now, with a stage hypnosis program, you might want them to do things such as take their shoe off and talk into it like it's a phone, or dance with a broom thinking it's a dance partner, things that are funny. So the type of hypnosis used is, there aren't really different stages of hypnosis for different things. There's the same scale of hypnosis for everything, but a somewhat deeper state of hypnosis is somewhat helpful in a stage setting. And many times people who go to a stage hypnotist will report afterwards not remembering exactly what happened. Sometimes these are very suggestible people. The standard for going into hypnosis in a clinical setting is a little more relaxed. You don't have to go so deeply that you would do those things without remembering them, or do things you wouldn't ordinarily do on stage without being in hypnosis, etc. So we have the difference in what we're after. One is after change, one is after entertainment, and we have the difference in the standard, how suggestible they need to be. In clinical hypnosis, they don't need to be very suggestible at all. After all, they're going to get a recording of the session they can listen to program themselves night after night. In a stage setting, it's a one-time shot. You have got to be very suggestible, and you've got to be able to go into a hypnotic state very quickly. So those are the main differences.
Beautiful. Does hypnosis or hypnotherapy, clinical hypnotherapy, work for everyone? Can everyone be brought into that hypnotic state, that alpha state, and benefit from the positive suggestions in the hypnosis process?
I believe that to some degree it does work for everyone. There are different levels of how effective it is. One of the most interesting tools we have to look at for that is the Harvard scale of susceptibility. I don't like the word susceptibility. I like the word suggestibility, but for some reason they called it that. Now, once I completed my doctorate, I got a hold of the scale and I altered it, made it into a quiz, made it easier to do, and made it into a quiz forum, and also changed the word susceptibility to suggestibility, as it should be. But everyone can be graded with a numeric value as to how suggestible they are. And suggestibility is sort of like electrical conductivity. Everything on this planet will conduct electricity. Everything. Wood conducts it not very well. Metal conducts electricity extremely well. It's sort of the same way with suggestibility. Everyone is suggestible. Some people are not very suggestible. Some people are highly suggestible. So that suggestibility, then comes what we might call efficacy, whether or not they're going to get the change they want when they go to a hypnotherapist. And when we look at that, that's a little different, because it doesn't necessarily mean that because you're very suggestible, you're going to necessarily get the change you want. Who knows? You may have some life factors working against it. You may be working on stopping smoking, yet live with 5 smokers who consistently smoke around you. So the efficacy question becomes different than the suggestibility question. But when we look at everything and we look at large groups of data over time, covering large types, different types of people, and we take a lot of different types of people into account, we find that hypnosis overall, when you combine suggestibility and efficacy, has a very high percentage of success if people will get the recordings and listen to them a few nights in a row. I recommend 3 weeks in a row. The percentage goes up very high.
Okay, so I'm going to come back to that question about how often to listen. Are there sort of simple markers or indications or characteristics that someone could that you could share, that someone would say, okay, yes, I am suggestible, or is it something where they need to take that survey or take that test?
I would recommend taking the survey. I mean, I have the quiz available on my website. I made it into a very straightforward quiz that takes about 5 minutes. So I would recommend going through that. I would just stick with that. The reason is that the quiz and the original test, they're multifactorial. They cover a lot of different. The questions seem kind of basic, but they're actually casting a wide net to get a really good assessment of you on a variety of different scales, and then combining them. So, to just throw out a few questions might kind of take away from it, I think.
Gotcha. Okay. But in general, most people are suggestible to some degree, some lesser or greater extent, and then depending on what they're doing, the efficacy can change depending on what they're trying to shift. Now, you said to listen. You suggest listening for 3 weeks. So we're going to be talking about a program later with multiple recordings. Does that mean you recommend listening to each of the recordings for 3 weeks in a row, or like listening to a recording for 3 weeks in a row. So it could be like the first recording the first night, and then the second recording. How does that work, and what do you recommend?
Well, in a situation where you've got a lot of recordings, and a lot of people like to do that, they say, well, I'd like to work on this and this and this and this, and I'll just go ahead and get everything. What I recommend in those cases is that you take them and put them into clumps of 3. And so you have a 3-week run. You're listening to those 3 recordings for 3 weeks, and you're alternating them. Recording 1 the first night, recording 2 the second night, recording 3 the third night, and back to recording 1 the fourth night. And sort of rinse and repeat as you go through the 3 weeks. So you're listening to 3 recordings for 3 weeks, but alternating every night so that you change it up every night. In a situation like we've got today, the topics are all related. They're not, one is stopping nail biting, and one is overcoming fear of public speaking, and one is losing weight. They're all chosen carefully to be on the same topic. So the groups of 3 can be random. You can pick any 3 of them, since they're all related, and proceed in that manner.
Beautiful. So let's talk about, it seems to me, sort of looking through your programs, listening to a couple of your programs, that there are two sort of big pieces that the hypnotherapy seems to address. One is sort of clearing old patterns and blocks, and the other is sort of programming yourself for new experiences, new perceptions, new openings. Can you talk a little bit about, first of all, how hypnotherapy works to break old patterns, clear blocks, and that kind of stuff?
Sure. And if we look at ourselves as sort of a computer, we're quite a bit different than computers, but we have some similarities. One is that we can be programmed, and our programming tends to take place early on. So we have these programs that we're running. So the way that hypnosis works in that regard is it just changes the program. We've all got them, outdated programs. Even me as a hypnotherapist who's been doing this for a long, long time, I've still got some programs that are outdated because I haven't addressed every aspect of myself. There's some things that I just haven't gotten to yet, but I've gotten to the main things, the big 5, the things that are mainly important to me. But we've got these old recordings running, and they're nice for a 5-year-old, to keep them safe and protected and from being embarrassed and stuff like that. But they're not appropriate for an adult in most cases. They're safe for an environment in which you need to protect yourself. They're safe for an environment of scarcity. They're safe for an environment in which you don't want to draw a lot of unnecessary attention. In other words, they're built up as these protectors of us. Things happen when we're younger. We decide, okay, that's not going to happen again. I'm going to put up this wall, some people like to call it, and it's going to protect me. Well, it becomes inappropriate when you're an adult and you no longer need that type of protection. So hypnosis gets in there and changes that. It says, okay, that was the old program. This is the new program.
So talk specifically about how hypnosis works, addresses issues around abundance, whether they're habits, perceptions, blocks, beliefs, fears that have to do specifically with abundance in a person's life.
Well, many times people will think things such as rich people are jerks, or wealthy people are unhappy, or it's evil or somehow bad to be rich. So usually when we talk about abundance, we're talking about money and assets. Sometimes we're talking about an abundance of happiness and friends, but I'll stick to measurable things. The most easily measurable things is a bank account. So when we look at a bank account, how much money is in there? Well, in many cases, people who have been programmed from youth to have a lack of financial abundance, they got those programs not for bad reasons, but for actually helpful reasons, because they thought that was what they needed to have in order to survive in this world. Maybe their parents were telling them that rich people are bad. maybe they had an uncle who went to jail for doing something, and he was wealthy, and he went to jail. So we put together a lot of arbitrary information, and we put together a lot of information that we think, that our subconscious minds think will be helpful for us, and we come up with these ideas, and in many cases, these ideas limit our abundance.
And so what actually happens in the hypnosis process when someone is listening to a hypnosis recording? What actually is happening in the mind, in the body, in the subconscious? What's going on?
Well, in my hypnosis recordings, and mine are pretty standard. They're pretty much like most hypnotherapy recordings, except mine might be a little bit longer. But in mine in particular, I spend a half hour relaxing the person. So you got a half hour of just walking along the beach, or walking in the woods, or imagining that you're walking into a nice house in the country, and you're just relaxing. It's involving all five senses, and you're relaxing. And then in the next half hour, you are specifically working on the change that you want to get. So in the first half hour, physically, your body is slowing down and relaxing, just as if you're in that moment. You're on that beach. You're in that country setting. You are in that relaxing environment. In the next half hour, you are working on the change, and you're getting all of the information that's going to be helpful to you. I don't know someone personally who's listening to the recording, but I do know from my experience working in hypnotherapy since 1985 that, I know the highlights. I know what people come up against when they want to stop smoking. I know what they come up against when they want to lose weight or want to make money or become more abundant. So all of that is in there. So that programming is in there. And then the rest of it is just designed to, for my recordings in particular, it's designed to allow you to go to sleep because they're designed for nighttime use. So it's just suggestions to go to sleep and wake up refreshed in the morning. So at that time, the person's body would be experiencing sleep and restfulness.
Now, why do you specifically choose to have people do this in the evening, at night? Is there a benefit to listening to these just before you go to bed, just before you go to sleep?
Well, I don't know if there's a benefit for the time of day. It's just a lot easier, and for me, it makes a lot more sense. Some research has indicated strongly that even if you fall asleep, you still get the benefits of a hypnosis session. So what I used to find with my clients early on is that they would say, well, I've got this recording, and when am I supposed to find time in my day to listen to it? And so I kept hearing that. So I worked around all that. There's no excuse anymore. There's no lack of time to listen to it anymore. You go to bed when you would normally go to bed. You don't need to go to bed early to listen to the recording. And then you just press play and you go to sleep when you would normally go to sleep. You just let yourself go to sleep. You see, the eyes close when we go to sleep, but the ears don't. They remain open as sort of a surveillance system. So if a mother with a newborn baby, for example, heard something when she was sound asleep, she would wake up and she would be able to attend to it. If someone broke into your home when you're sleeping, you would wake up. Now, why is that we do that? The reason is our ears stay open. We have earlids. We have eyelids, rather. We don't have earlids. So because we don't, the ears don't have a way to close. They stay open. That's for our survival and for the survival of our offspring. When we're in a situation where we have young children in the home, we can hear them make noise and we can wake up. We're designed like that. And because of that surveillance system that's always going on, our hearing, we have the ability to also record information that's going on. So when you listen to a recording at night and you go to sleep, you're still able to take in the information and record it. So for me, it just makes the most sense. It's the most efficient. It eliminates all possible patient excuses, and it makes everyone's life easier.
Well, so basically you get into bed, you pop these into your iPod or iPhone or whatever, and you put them on and you play them and you just listen, and you just fall asleep to them, and then it just works on you as you're asleep?
Exactly. The words are going into your brain while you're sleeping, while you're quote unquote sleeping. Because as I was explaining, you're never really asleep. We think we're asleep, but we're never really asleep. Our brains are active. Our hearing is active. If we were to hear something in our environment, we would be alerted. It's just part of the way we're wired. So the only thing you have to do is make sure there's not a Metallica song as the next song in your iPod.
Yeah, that could kind of jolt you a little bit, huh?
Yeah.
Beautiful. So, what are some things that you have seen when dealing with people with abundance? Like, do you have any stories of people who have made dramatic shifts in their relationship to abundance after working with your hypnotherapy sessions?
Oh, absolutely. I have, fortunately, I had my office in Beverly Hills for a few years, so I was able to work with a lot of, they're people just like regular people, except they're more well-known, and they're doing things on a bigger scale in terms of its publicity. So I worked with a lot of actors and directors and writers and studio executives and so forth. I remember one guy who came into my office, and he was a studio executive in the motion picture industry, and he had previously been making about somewhere around $10 million a year. He was in a slump.
Whoa.
And and that's common. I mean, a lot of actors came into my office, and actors at any given time are usually unemployed. If you check with them at any particular point in their life, unless they're an A-list actor, they're usually unemployed, and they're scrounging for work. This is something that's fascinating. You see these people on TV and on the movies, and what a lot of people don't realize is that, right after they do that movie and right before it, they're unemployed, and they don't know when their next job is. Now, the A-list actors always know. They always have some scripts waiting. Their agents have something for them, but not true as you go down the line. So this guy was not an actor. He was a studio executive, but he was in a slump because he wasn't bringing in the business, and he wasn't producing like he used to, and he felt that it was over. And that's a common theme among actors also. They think it's over. They think it's done. And we can, as we step aside here a little bit, we can look at John Travolta's career. John Travolta, it looked like it was over for him until Pulp Fiction came along.
Sure did.
Yeah, I mean, he was Vinnie Barbarino when I was a kid. I watched him on TV, and then he did Saturday Night Live and a few other movies, and you thought, okay, he's going to the stars, and then he disappeared for a long time until Quentin Tarantino brought him back in Pulp Fiction. Oh, okay, there he is again. Now he's back in the movies. So that's the way it is for actors. Now, back to this guy, a studio executive. He was in a slump, not thinking abundantly, thinking that it was over, thinking that he was too old, too unwanted. What he had done was all in the past. He no longer had the mojo. He no longer had the drive. And through working with him hypnotically, through a series of hypnosis sessions, I was able to get him back in the saddle. So I'm not able to disclose his name, but he is back on top again and doing what he loves, which is creating motion pictures.
Wow. I'm just curious, how long did you work with him? Or was it one session? Did he work with your programs? Did you see him personally? Just out of curiosity.
I worked with him for 6 sessions, once a week. And I did see him personally, and I made recordings for him after each one. This was during the years that I was getting my ideas together for my hypnosis recordings, the current ones that I have, because I thought, okay, wait a minute, this guy's coming in to see me 6 sessions. The things I'm working with him on are pretty standard things that I think everyone would benefit from, even though he's on a bigger scale. Everyone at a certain point who works in sales, and a studio is always working in sales. They've always got to market their next thing. Anyone who works in sales can benefit from these techniques. So I started combining all of these into my hypnosis recording. So now my abundance hypnosis recording, for example, contains this full 6 weeks of information condensed into a very useful form.
Wow. This is great, and I love that you have so many specific examples. Let's talk about the relationship between stress and wealth. One of the programs that's included in the package is how to ease stress, and I've certainly seen that my abundance level goes down when my stress level goes up, and vice versa. When my stress level goes down, my abundance level goes up. So talk a little bit about what you've seen in the relationship between people's stress level and their level of wealth and abundance.
Well, some people like it. Some people thrive on stress. Some people take stress and they want to convert it into a motivator. And I think that's great.
Yeah.
It's great until a certain point, because what they're possibly not taking into consideration is that stress is something that medical doctors have identified as something that can end us physically. It can undo us. It can lead to all sorts of health complications. So this idea of riding stress and getting excited about it and, okay, I'm going to use stress to motivate me, that works great up until usually a certain age. They start getting to that age, late 40s, early 50s. Then it becomes a potential serious danger. And if they've been riding off of it to make their abundance, they need to find something else to ride off of. They need to get into meditation, for example, something that's more calm, because it's no longer physically a great idea. In your 20s, stress can be great. I remember being late for writing, term papers in my first year of college, and I would just wait till the last minute and use stress, and they would crank out a great paper. That was wonderful. But over time, it becomes less wonderful. But what you are experiencing, you apparently are one of the people, like I am currently, who finds that stress actually works against you. It's not really an ally. It's more of an enemy. It's something that's something that you'd rather eliminate. And I hear that, and I am the same way. And so hypnosis comes into play there. It's a really great way to calm yourself down, to let go of stress, to program you to look for other ways of getting thrills. Some people just they like to get their thrills from doing their work, and they always ride that last minute term paper type tide throughout their lives. But there's a better way to do it. There's a more productive way to do it. There's a healthier way to do it. And so hypnosis can come into play. And if you're looking for stress relief in general, between hypnosis and meditation, I can't think of two better ways to relax yourself.
Well, talk about that a little bit, because I was reading over some on your site, and you do talk a lot about the relationship between hypnosis and meditation. So share a little bit about your thoughts on how hypnosis and meditation can work together to really enhance someone's life.
Okay, I think a lot of it is just labeling, and we've got a lot of marketing out there these days too. And I say we, I mean just humans in general. There's a lot of specific marketing for meditation, and now we're seeing more and more marketing for hypnosis in recent years. But they're essentially the same thing. A hypnotic state is the same as a meditative state. There's not a different scale. Your brain is not able to go on to a different scale. You have alpha, which is the lightest state of hypnosis and meditation, and then you go down from there. And every step you go down, you are going down a state of hypnosis and meditation. And also the sleep scale is the same as well. So it's interesting that as you go down alpha, then you go down lower into theta, and very low into delta. Those are the scales of hypnosis. Those are the scales of meditation, and those are that is the scale of hypnosis. That is the scale of meditation, and that is the scale of sleep. So we're not able to go into a different scale. We have one scale, and you can access that in your everyday life. You can go into alpha just by spacing out while you're driving. You can go into alpha while you're reading a book, or you can go into alpha while you're meditating, or you can put yourself into a light state of hypnosis and go into alpha. So these are the same exact states. There are just different ways to get there. One we're calling meditation, in which you're just centering yourself and relaxing. The other one is called hypnosis, in which it's a little more formalized in most cases. There's the imagery that you're being told about, and there's a counting down from 10 to 1 oftentimes. But the scale is the same and the effect is the same.
Now, on your recordings, do you ever do people ever benefit, and do you ever take people down lower than alpha? Do you take people down into theta or delta, or do you tend to work mostly at the alpha state?
That's not controllable by me. That's not something that I'm able to. Yeah, they're going to go wherever they're going to go, and they may bounce around a little bit. They may go down to delta, then theta, then back up to alpha. So that's not something that is within my control. But by virtue of lying down and closing your eyes, you're going to be in at least alpha. You're going to be in at least the lightest stage of hypnosis, which is all you really need in order to get the power that we're talking about from the recordings.
Now, your recordings, the new platinum recordings that are included in the package, you do include binaural beats and brainwave entrainment. And from what I understand, and I'm sure you know more about this than me, but that you can use the entrainment to sort of focus people in a certain brainwave state. So with the entrainment that you're using, the binaural beats that you're using, are you heading people towards alpha, or do you ever take them lower with the binaural beats, or am I missing the point here?
No, you're right. And it's the binaural beats are and the frequency can be two different things. The binaural, well, we should probably, I don't want to get too academic, but binaural beats don't exist. Yeah. We'll start with that. Binaural beats are a phantom, an imaginary frequency that you hear in the center of your brain, which is the difference between one channel minus, you take one channel frequency minus the other channel frequency. That's the frequency you're going to hear in the center of your brain. It doesn't exist. It was discovered long ago, and it appears to have significant benefit in terms of relaxing someone and delivering a message more powerfully. So that's one frequency that you can create, the phantom binaural frequency that doesn't exist, but you perceive it. Another frequency that can be produced is any frequency you want, which is produced by the recording. You can have background music that's at a certain frequency, for example. So we are shooting for the stars. We're always shooting for the deepest state. We're always shooting for the delta level to get them very, very relaxed. Doesn't mean they're going to go there. Doesn't mean they're going to definitely go to that state. But as with anything, I always say, shoot for the stars, and you're going to, even if you don't make it, you're going to be fine. And realize that that's not even the standard. You don't need to go to delta. You don't need to go that deeply. Even if you just go to a light state of hypnosis in which you're still aware of everything consciously, that's good enough in order to cause the change that you're looking for.
Beautiful. That makes a lot of sense, and thank you for clarifying that. Let's talk. Well, actually, I really am excited to have you lead us through a hypnosis process. Is there some information or background that you need to share about the way that you guide hypnosis processes, or is it something that we can start to work on or start to jump into right now?
Well, if we're going to do a hypnosis session now, yes, there's some preparation, both practical and legal, that we need to do. So I can begin that process now if you want.
Yeah, let's do that, because it would be great to have people experience what your abundance sessions are like. Okay.
Well, unfortunately, we're going to lose a few people. So anyone who's listening to this and not able to lie down, anyone who's in a moving vehicle or jogging or anything like that, you need to stop listening right now, because hypnosis is not something that you listen to while you're doing these things. So if you're not able to stop what you're doing, then you need to stop listening to this, because you can get into a very relaxed state. So you do not want to be driving a car, riding a bicycle, jogging. What you do need to do is stop everything you're doing if you're able to. If not, you can just stop listening to this. And I need you to lie down in a comfortable place, on a bed or on the floor, on a couch, somewhere where if you were to become very relaxed, you wouldn't fall out of anything. So in other words, if it's a chair, make sure it's a chair with arms. or you can lie down on a bed or on the floor, and make sure that no one's going to disturb you during this, because you don't want someone walking in and interrupting the session. So if you're able to do all of that, great. If you're not, then you can perhaps listen to this at some other time. And
and I'll just let people know that this replay will be available. So if you can't listen right now and really get the benefit from this session with Steve right now, just be sure to tune in starting this evening. The replay will be available, and you'll be able to check it out when you have the space and the time and the ability to really get the benefit from this hypnosis session. Okay,
perfect. And then, Edward, what would you like me to work with them on, and how long would you like the session to be?
Well, I'm open with time. I know you tend to do fairly long sessions on the recordings, and obviously we don't have time to do a full half-hour induction, half-hour to reprogram, but let's see, maybe can we do 10, 12 minutes? Does that give you enough time?
Yeah, that's perfect. Usually for this type of situation, that's what I would do, kind of a quick session, just to kind of like an hors d'oeuvre, kind of give you a sample of what hypnosis is like.
Perfect. And as far as a topic, how about something that has to do with a block around abundance, clearing a block, whether it's I know one of your programs that you've included is fear of success. So maybe we can do a little hors d'oeuvre on fear of success and clearing that.
Okay, that sounds great. Everyone can use that, and even if you're already fearless, there's always the next level. You can always go further. So let's go ahead and use that. All right, so my understanding is that everyone listening is not operating a motor vehicle or doing anything that requires their full attention, and you are lying down. And if you were to go into a very restful state and you turn one way or the other, you wouldn't fall out of anything. You're stabilized, and and you've isolated yourself to some degree so no one's going to bother you. And we're going to do a 10 to 12 minute hypnosis session, and we're going to work on the idea of overcoming abundance blocks, and specifically we're going to talk about fear of success, overcoming fear of success. So we're going to go ahead and get started right now, and we'll use the, just to be a little bit academic here, we'll use the beach induction to induce the hypnotic state, and then I'll have you watch a sunset. That's called the deepening, where I'm going to count down as the sun's going down. That just intensifies the hypnosis session so that you're able to relax more deeply. Then we'll do the script, which is just the part where I'm going to tell you to change, and then transtermination at the end, which simply means I'm going to bring you out of hypnosis. So unlike my hypnosis recordings designed for nighttime use, I'm actually going to bring you out of hypnosis because I want you to enjoy the rest of the program. So let's go ahead and begin. And I'd like you to just imagine yourself now walking along the beach. Now this is your beach on your own private island. And you're walking along this beach and relaxing. You're so very relaxed. Walking and relaxing, and you see a few white wispy clouds in the sky. The sky is blue. The few birds off in the distance that you can hear. And you feel the warm sand beneath your feet, and a gentle breeze, and the warmth of the sun. And between the gentle breeze and the warmth of the sun, the temperature is just right. And you feel your body move as you walk along the sand. And you walk very slowly down to the water's edge. Just walking, relaxing, unwinding. This is your beach on your private island. You are relaxed and safe and at ease. And as you continue walking, you hear the waves roll in and out as you get closer to the water, and you can see them beautiful green and blue waves with white caps as they break and then roll back out again, rolling in and out, relaxing you more and more deeply. You are so very relaxed and at ease now. And I'd like you now to find a safe, dry, comfortable place near the water's edge where you can watch the sunset, because the sun is about to set at the end of this beautiful day. And as you sit down, you relax even more deeply, and you feel the relaxation moving from the top of your head all the way down to the tips of your toes, relaxing every part of your body on its way down, relaxing your shoulders and your neck, your torso, your arms, your hands, your fingers, relaxing your hips, your legs. Feel the relaxation moving into your feet as you sit and prepare to watch a beautiful sunset. And as I count backwards from 5 to 1, the sun will slowly set on the horizon. And the lower the sun goes, the more you relax. And the lower I count, the lower the sun goes. Starting with the number 5, and the sun begins to set on the horizon as you relax more and more deeply. 4 down, down goes the sun as you relax more and more deeply. Relaxing, unwinding, letting go. 3, down, down. Relaxing more and more deeply. 2, so very relaxed now. And at the count of the next number, the sun will have set completely on the horizon, and you will be completely relaxed. All right now, 1. The sun has set on the horizon and you are relaxed and at ease. And because you are relaxed and at ease, you realize that you can accomplish anything you want to accomplish. You realize how powerful you are. You realize that previously you may have had some things that held you back. I'd like you to imagine now the things that you feel hold you back are in a backpack. You are carrying them on your back. Imagine all of the things that you imagine to be slowing you down. Imagine them being in that backpack. Feel their weight now. Feel how much more heavy they make you. Some of them may be unknown to you. They may just appear as weight. But they are all in that backpack now. And you can feel them pulling on you as you attempt to walk in your mind. You become aware of their weight. I'd like you now to imagine taking that backpack off. Just undo the straps from your shoulders and take that backpack off. When you do that, you remove the blocks that you had been carrying around, perhaps fears, perhaps hesitation, perhaps memories of previous attempts at doing something. When you take that backpack off, you remove all of these. You drop it now. And you continue walking Notice how much lighter you feel. You have decided to let go of those blocks forever. And as you now imagine being free, which you are, I'd like you to imagine yourself lifting up above your body. Just imagine that you're lifting up above your body, and imagine that you can travel forward in time. And as you travel forward in time, I would like you to move forward to a time in your near future when you have accomplished many things. You have a level of success that you have wanted for a while. And as you now move back down into your body, you find yourself in that future setting, perhaps surrounded by different people, different things. Notice how good it feels to be you in that moment. Notice what you have. Notice the car you're driving, the home that you live in, the friends that you have. Notice what you do on a daily basis, how you contribute to the world. Notice how you spend your time, both your free time and your time of contribution to the world. Most importantly, notice how good you feel about yourself, how good it feels to be you in that moment. Notice the sights, the sounds, the colors. Notice how it smells. Take it all in. Involve all of your senses now as you really get involved in being there in the future, being successful, having achieved what you want to achieve. Really explore that environment. Notice how good you feel. Notice everything about the environment. And as you continue taking it all in, I want you to realize that you will create this future. And I'd like you now to make the OK sign with your right hand, touching the tip of your right thumb to the tip of your right index finger. And say the word abundance to yourself. And then you can release the tip of your right thumb from the tip of your right index finger. Continue relaxing. I'd like you now to imagine yourself rising again above your body, floating backwards this time, floating back to the present moment. And going back into your body in the present moment, returning to the here and now. And I want you to realize that any time you need an extra boost of energy or belief in yourself, all you have to do is touch the tip of your right thumb to the tip of your right index finger and say the word abundance, and you will immediately be reminded of that future that you are moving toward. And that will help you let go of any former fear of success that you had and let you move forward to a new you, a version of yourself that is capable of accomplishing anything. You have let go of your fears. You embrace your success. You are moving powerfully toward your future now. You are making things happen. You are getting things done. And as you look forward to your future now, you realize how easy it's going to be to get there, to get to that abundant life. And so before you go to sleep tonight, you will take one action that's going to allow you to get on that road to success. One thing that you've been putting off that you should have done a while ago, but you didn't do. Something that once you do it, you're going to feel the energy of getting things done, and you're going to want to get more things done, and you're going to make them happen. And in just a few moments, you'll return to full awakening consciousness. And when you do, you will be alert and wide awake and ready to create this new life, ready to move into this future. Slowly coming up now to the count of 3, so that by the time I reach that final number, you will be wide awake and full of natural energy. All right, now 1, coming up feeling very good. 2, beginning to move now, beginning to stir, becoming very aware of your surroundings, very aware of where you are. And at the count of the next number, you will be wide awake and completely out of hypnosis. All right, now 3, eyes open, wide awake, and completely out of hypnosis.
Wow, thank you, Steve. That was awesome. I'd love to share just a little bit about my experience. I would love to hear from folks on the call. So if you would like to share your experience with this hypnosis session, you can share it on the Yes page, theabundantmystic.com/yes, theabundantmystic.com/yes. Just enter your comment down there. For me, Steve, a couple of things I could really feel. It was interesting because I didn't feel like I was that deep in hypnosis, but I could really feel when the backpack was on my back, and I could feel the weight of that, and I could feel the lightness when I let go of that. And then when you had us touch our finger and thumb together and say abundance, just that locking that in, that trigger or whatever you call it, I did it a couple times afterwards, and just could feel this surge of energy in my system as I did that. So it's interesting, I guess, for me to notice that even though I didn't feel like I could have gotten up at any time lying down, so I didn't feel like I was in that deep a trance, but obviously something was shifting for me. So it was really, really interesting and powerful.
Oh, wonderful. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, is that something that you notice with people sometimes, that they, may not feel like they're really in a trance state, but that they are actually getting the benefit?
Well, with this abbreviated type session would never happen in a normal situation, because when you go into a hypnotherapist office, it's going to be about 6 times longer than that. It's going to be an hour. So this is just an unusual, unnatural version of it that we create for just to give people a taste of it. But even in those longer versions, yes, some people do just go into alpha, which, as I mentioned, is a state where you can be aware of what's going on. It's just the state you go in when you read a book, when you watch TV, sometimes when you're driving, when you're spacing out or daydreaming. You can be aware of what's going on, yet you're also involved in this imagery that's going on in your mind. And we do find that the efficacy, the power of the hypnosis begins there. So there doesn't seem to be a measurable gain when you go deeper. As long as you're in the lightest state of hypnosis, you're getting all of the benefits. You're getting all the benefits of change. And the other idea is, of course, that if you're using a recording, you're listening to it night after night to really reinforce that change as well.
Got it. That totally makes sense. And also, the fact that I'm hosting this call means that I was conscious of the fact that I couldn't really allow myself to completely go away, because I knew I had to come back. So that, I'm sure, had something to do with the fact that I didn't get as deep as I might have if I was just allowing myself to really go with the process.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the package that we put together with 10 of your programs, and it's such a powerful program. We picked these 10 programs specifically to help people create more abundance in their lives. And if you want to follow along, and you're on the call, you can click on the button on the Yes page, the link there to the special offer on the Yes page. If you're not on the Yes page and you want to just go there, just go to theabundantmystic.com/Steve, STEVE, theabundantmystic.com/Steve, and you can follow along. And now, Steve, these are 10 of your programs that specifically deal with issues around abundance, and the first 5 are specifically issues that are barriers to success. So let's just quickly go through them and kind of hear what people are going to get with each of these, what they're going to learn with each of them. The first one is the Unlimited Confidence Program. So talk about that, what they get in the Unlimited Confidence Program, and how it relates to their ability to create abundance in their lives.
Well, confidence is what I start out every client with. If you come into my office, the first session we're going to work on is confidence, because it's the underpinning of everything. With confidence, you can do anything you want. Without confidence, you don't even know if gravity is going to work, so you may even hesitate to get out of bed in the morning. If you don't take that first step, then you're not going to take the subsequent steps. So most people don't have that particular challenge, but they do have a hesitation somewhere along the line that has to do with confidence. So the first thing I want to do when working with someone is wipe out their lack of belief in themselves and their possibilities, and that's what this recording does.
Beautiful. It's interesting. I've never thought of it that way, that confidence is the underpinning of everything, but it really is when you think about it. So I'm really glad that you shared that, because it's so true, and I'm glad that we've included that as one of the foundational programs in this package. The next one, item 2, is the Unlimited Motivation Program. So share a little bit about that.
Well, once you have confidence, once you believe in yourself, then it's time to do something with that energy. So the Unlimited Motivation Program gets you working on whatever it is you want to work on. So you become motivated to achieve your goals. What is it that you want to do with all that confidence you have? Let's get moving forward. So that's what that program is about.
Beautiful. So then we get into Discover Abundance. And in some ways, it's interesting that a barrier to abundance is they haven't discovered abundance. So share a little bit about what happens and what they get in the Discover Abundance program.
Well, abundance is something that happens on a number of different levels. It can be financial abundance. It can be abundance of friends. It can be an abundance of fun. It can be abundance of anything. So abundance is really widespread, and a lot of it has to do with you. What do you consider to be abundance? What do you want an abundance of? It opens you up to being that plant that grows into a bigger plant and grows into a tree. And then once you're a tree, you can provide shade for the surrounding plants that are coming up. You can give back. You can do your part. So it takes you from the idea of just caring for yourself and nurturing yourself and developing yourself into this abundant being. And it also puts in the idea of, now that you are that, complete the cycle of abundance. Give back to your surroundings. Do something for the world around you, and that's going to increase your abundance.
Beautiful. I love that. And it's so much a part of what we're doing here at the Abundant Mystic, the idea of personal prosperity while making the world a better place. And so I love that that's one of the programs included in this package. The next one, item 4, is overcoming fear of success. And just share a little bit about, people might wonder, why would I have a fear of success? But share a little bit about how that comes up and how it gets in the way and how this program helps to shift that.
Well, just like in our session today, which was focused on fear of success, the idea is that some people are just afraid of being successful. They have an idea that, maybe rich people are bad, or that, if they are successful, it's going to be more stress, or more people are going to expect more things from them. So it's an idea of letting go of all of those fears and realizing that being successful is actually a very wonderful thing. Because when you are successful, you, first of all, play your role in the world of sharing your gifts with all of us so we can see that and benefit from it. And you also encourage other people to follow their path. to develop themselves. So it incorporates all of that and a lot more.
Beautiful. And then the fifth program and the fifth barrier is overcoming fear of failure. So this is obviously the opposite, or the counterpart to fear of success. Talk a little bit about the fear of failure and how that gets in the way in abundance, and how this program helps to shift that.
Well, some people never start things because they're afraid they're going to fail at them. So it lets you let go of that. Failure, if you think about it, is really just an opportunity to learn. Not everything works the first time. Look at Edison, the story that we've heard about Edison creating the light bulb. A lot of failure and one success. So sometimes that's all it takes, is that one success, but you usually don't get there without some quote-unquote failures, which are all part of the learning. So it helps you get over that. That is an essential step. If you want to be successful at anything, you've got to get over a fear of failure and realize that it's not failure at all, but just a step along the way to your success.
Beautiful. That's so true about failing along the way. So the next one, item 6, is achieve unlimited wealth. And this obviously, I imagine it has to do with money and achieving the wealth that you want. So now that we've gone through, you've taken us through all these 5 barriers to abundance. Now you're starting to program people for unlimited wealth. So how does that program, the Unlimited Wealth program, work?
Well, Unlimited Wealth is just like the Unlimited Abundance recording, except it's specifically focused on money. It's a full half-hour script in the middle of it, just talking about money, how you can get more money. And a lot of people have a big hang-up with this. They think that rich people are evil and that money will make them a bad person and money will cause problems and challenges and so forth. So it helps you get over all of that and realize that money is nothing more than a scoreboard. It's showing how many people you have helped, how much benefit you've brought to the world. You bring a little benefit to the world, you get a little bit of money. You bring a lot of benefit, you get a lot of money. And that's all money is. It's just a way to keep track of that. It's also a way for you to exchange your value with other people. Some people give you the value of a medical service, and you give them the money that you have gotten from the value that you bring to the world. So it's a way to keep track of value brought to the world. So once people understand that, they're able to move forward more easily, and this program helps people understand that.
Beautiful, beautiful. The next one, item 7, is concentration and focus. And as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, I know how important concentration and focus is in order to create success. And I know that there are times when I feel my ability to concentrate and focus is really right there, and there are times when it's not. And it makes a huge difference. My business goes so much more smoothly when my concentration and focus is high. So talk about how this ties into abundance and how this program, the concentration and focus program, will really, how it works to increase people's capacity to concentrate and focus.
Well, it helps you do just that. It helps you concentrate and focus by training your brain to let go of distractions and to just focus on the task at hand, to whatever it is you're doing. And through a series of suggestions and techniques, it allows you to do that, so that the end result is that you are able to take on something and just focus on that and get that done.
That's great. That's such a huge important thing, no matter what you do, whether you're working for someone else or in school or running your own business. The capacity and ability to focus and concentrate is so important. So that feels like a big piece of the abundance puzzle. Program number 8 is the E-Stress program, and we talked a little bit about the relationship between stress and abundance. Do you want to share a little bit more about how this program works, the E-Stress program?
Sure. It's just a way for you to let go of the anxiety that the day can cause, and to everyone's going to have stress at some point. It's not as if you're going to become a robot and become completely stress-free, but it's going to help you deal with it more effectively. And the idea is that you'll live a hopefully healthier, longer life. That's not a claim, but that's the intention at least, that you're going to live a healthier, longer life, and that you're going to be more productive, and that you're going to really start to tap into ways to get that stress out, productive ways, productive channels of stress relief, traveling, exercise, and so forth.
Beautiful. Number 9 is discover your passion, and that feels like such an important piece in the abundance puzzle, especially for folks in this abundant mystic tribe, because we really do. The people who are listening on this call, they have a passion. They want to make a difference in the world. And, in some cases, that passion may be murky or muddy or not completely clear. So talk about how this program, Discover Your Passion, will help them to clarify what their passion is.
Well, it's going to do exactly that. It's going to help you tune into what you want to do, not what your parents wanted you to do, not what you think you should do for money, not what you think you should do because it's going to look good, but what you really want to do, what you're going to enjoy doing every day. That's going to get you up, get you motivated, make you productive, and allow you to contribute to the world.
Wow. That is such an important piece in this abundance process. And then finally, you've got to improve your life balance. And gosh, I know growing up with a father who worked 60, 70 hours a week, that my role models around life balance were definitely skewed, and it's been an ongoing struggle for me to really find that work-life balance. So talk about this program a little bit and how it really ties into this idea of true abundance.
Well, the idea is just that. Yes, you're going to get the balance that you need. People can get out of balance. They can work too much or they can play too much. You can overdo anything, even something that seems to be good for you. I mean, you can drown in a few inches of water, or that few inches of water can save your life in a desert. It's all about how you use energy. Something that seems good in one situation might not actually be beneficial. So it allows you to balance all of that out. You're going to work hard, play hard. You're going to enjoy your life. You're going to have the balance that you need in order to continue on. Studies show that if you keep hammering away at a challenge, eventually you're going to become ineffective at hammering away at it. But if you take a little break and come back to it, the answers are going to appear to you, not through some magic process, but because your brain finally got a break and got a chance to assemble things in its own way and give you the answer you're looking for. So life balance is necessary in anything that you're doing.
Steve, this is such a powerful program, and each one of these programs, this package is so powerful. Each one of these programs is an hour long, and like you said, sort of do them in groups of 3. Go the first one night, the next one the next night, the next one next night. Do that for 3 weeks, and then you've got 3 sets of those, and then an extra one left over. And I imagine you can do these over and over as many times as you want. Just put them on before bed, listen to them, and let yourself fall asleep to them, and get the benefit as you sleep. So, have you seen people just keep getting, continuous improvement as they listen to these over and over and over again?
Oh, absolutely. We have all kinds of emails that come in every day, success stories. So, absolutely.
Wow. Just really quickly, we've got on the page here all this information about the new updated platinum technology, or the technology, and all of this cool stuff that you've got on there, the NLP, neuro-linguistic programming and future pacing, the relaxation scenarios, binaural tones we already talked about, the full hour with 30-minute analog marking and stereo imaging. Just really quickly, can you just kind of go through those? Because these are some terms that I haven't even heard of, the future pacing and the king. So just could you just share just a little bit more about what this is and how that's going to really help people with these programs?
Sure. Future pacing is just imagining yourself in the future, having achieved the goal, whatever you want to achieve. We did a little bit of that in our hors d'oeuvre sampling of the hypnosis session today, where I had you leave your body, go into your body in the future, and see what it would be like. That's future pacing. You're seeing what it's like. Analog marking is using a 3-word statement and marking it out a little bit more loudly than the rest. For example, I can construct a paragraph. In that paragraph can be the words, "You are successful." Every word in that paragraph I would say at one level, but the words "you" and "are" and "successful" I would say a little bit more loudly or a little bit differently. That's something that's blended into the recordings that you're not necessarily going to pick up on, but it's something that's nice that's in there. Binaural tones, we talked about those. The phantom tone that's created in the center of your brain. It's not really there, but you imagine it to be there. Studies show that it has some power in delivering a hypnotic message. So those are the highlights that we have in there that the engineers put in there. And keep in mind, I built a studio from the ground up. I hired 2 college graduate sound engineers. We used a handmade Rhodes mic from Australia. We used Pro Tools, which is what they use when they make movie soundtracks. We used everything that we possibly could have to create a world-class recording studio to create world-class recordings. I spent well over $100,000 of my own money in producing these recordings, and they took about 2 years to make. So you've got top-of-the-line, world-class hypnosis recordings, and I really hope you enjoy them.
Wow. This is really, really just a robust abundance package, and I'm definitely going to be diving in and listening to these and sharing my successes and my results with these, and look forward to hearing from those of you on the call who are going to jump in and join me in listening to these programs. Steve, I just so want to thank you for putting this together, and I just want to share it's each of these programs, if you were to go to Steve's site right now to buy them, they're $79 each, and just for the Abundant Mystic listeners, if you're listening on the call today, if you're listening on the replay, you can get this entire package of 10 powerful abundance hypnotherapy programming sessions for just $97. So it is really, really an incredible offer, a great deal that you can get right now from Steve Jones. And Steve, just really, really want to thank you so much for putting this package together for us and taking the time to be with us here on the call today. And is there any last insight you want to share before I know you've got to get going, is there any last insight that you want to share before we wrap up this call?
Well, I always like to end with this, which is a quote from the musical group America, and they were talking about the movie The Wizard of Oz, and it says, Oz never did give nothing to the Tin Man that he didn't already have. And The Wizard of Oz was, of course, giving physical representations of things that the characters in the movie and the book before that already had. But he was reminding them of what they had. So that's sort of like hypnosis. You already have abundance, you already have motivation, you already have confidence, but sometimes you need a reminder of how great and wonderful and beautiful and amazing you are. That's where hypnosis comes into play, and that's where these recordings are really going to make a huge difference in your life.
Wow, that is such a great way to end, and one of my favorite old songs from growing up. So thank you for reminding me of that.
Sure.
Steve, thank you. It's been wonderful connecting with you. Thank you for taking the time and joining us here and adding your wisdom and insights and energy into the Abundant Mystic. I really appreciate you taking the time to join us today.
Well, thank you, Edward. Thanks for having me here.